Hey, fitness family. Welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk with Abby. I'm your host, and if you're new here, welcome to the show where we cut through the BS and give you the real talk about fitness, nutrition, and living your best life. And if you've been riding with me for a while, you know exactly what you're getting. No fluff, no fake promises, just straight up truth that's going to change how you approach your health and fitness. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the biggest myths that's been maybe keeping you stressed out at the gym, costing you money, and honestly, making your life way more complicated than it needs to be. We're talking about the so-called anabolic window, that panic-inducing belief that you've got exactly 30 minutes after your workout to slam down a protein shake or else kiss your gains goodbye forever. I can already hear some of you getting defensive, but Abby, my trainer said, but I read on Instagram that. Stop right there. I'm about to serve you some stone cold facts backed by the latest scientific research that are going to completely change how you think about protein timing. And honestly, it's going to free you from so much unnecessary stress and anxiety around your workout. So grab your coffee, your pre-workout, your post-workout shake, whatever you're sipping on, because we're about to get real about protein timing. And I promise you, by the end of this episode, you're going to feel like a massive weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. Let's get into it. Now, before we dive into the science, let me get vulnerable with you for a minute. I used to be that person, the one frantically mixing protein powder in the gym parking lot, setting timers on my phone, literally feeling anxious if I could not get my post-workout nutrition in within that magical 30-minute window. I remember one time, and this is embarrassing, but I'm sharing it because I know some of you have been there. I was at the gym. I had an amazing leg day. I felt like a total warrior. But then as I was making my way home, I got stuck in traffic. About 25 minutes turned into 45 minutes. And I'm sitting there in a gridlock, literally stress eating protein bars because I was convinced I was going to lose all my gains from that workout. Looking back, it's almost laughable. It actually is. But in that moment, the anxiety was real. The stress was real. And that stress, that's not helping anyone's fitness goals because chronic stress actually works against muscle building and recovery. So here I was creating stress to prevent a problem that, as it turns out, wasn't even a real problem. That experience got me digging deeper. I started questioning everything I thought I knew about protein timing. And what I discovered completely blew my mind and changed how I coach my clients. So let's get real for a hot minute about where this anabolic window concept even came from. The idea isn't completely made up. There is some science showing that muscle protein synthesis can be elevated after exercises. But here's where the fitness industry took a small grain of truth and turned it into a monster that's been terrorizing gym goers for decades. Picture this. You finish your workout, you're feeling amazing, endorphins are flowing, you've just crushed maybe your personal best on squats. But instead of basking in that victory, what happens? You're immediately hit with anxiety about getting your protein in fast enough. You're checking your watch, you're rushing through your cool down, you're chugging protein powder that doesn't even taste good because you're in panic mode. How many of you have literally sprinted from the squat rack to the locker room, frantically mixing up your protein powder like your life depended on it? Show of hands, who's felt genuine anxiety about not getting that post-workout shake in fast enough? Who spent extra money on the individual protein packets because, God forbid, you're caught without protein immediately after your workout? And if I sound crazy, honestly, this was me. I see you. I've been you. And here's the truth bomb I wish someone had dropped on me years ago. The anabolic window, as it's been marketed to us, is basically fitness folklore that's been blown way out of proportion. But here's what gets me really fired up about this myth. It's not just causing stress, it's creating an entire industry around anxiety. Walk into any supplement store and they'll have products specifically marketed for immediate post-workout recovery. You've got companies selling you expensive amino acid formulas that you must take within 15 minutes of finishing your workout. You've got trainers telling you to pack protein bars in the gym bag like you're preparing for survival in the wilderness. And don't even get me started on these ridiculous social media influencers chugging protein shakes mid-workout, acting like if they don't have protein coursing through their veins at every moment, they're going to shrivel up into nothing. It's madness, and it's making fitness way more complicated than it needs to be. All right, so this is where things get really interesting. And I want you to pay close attention because this information is going to completely shift your perspective. I've been diving deep into the latest research, and I mean the really recent stuff, not studies from the 90s that have been recycled in fitness magazines for decades. Let's start with a major bombshell, a brand new meta-analysis from 2025. We're talking cutting-edge science here, published in the journal Nutrients, took a comprehensive look at protein timing. These researchers didn't just look at one small study. They analyzed multiple studies and directly compared people who had their protein before workouts versus after workouts. The result? Are you ready for this? Absolutely zero meaningful difference in upper strength, lower body strength, or lean muscle mass gains. Let me say that again slower for the people in the back. No meaningful difference. But wait, there's more. And this is where it gets really juicy. Another study followed resistance trained guys. We're talking people who knew what they were doing in the gym, not beginners, for a full 8 weeks. These weren't weekend warriors. These were serious lifters. Half of them had their protein immediately around their workout. We're talking that classic post-workout shake scenario. And the other half waited 3 hours before and after the workout to have their protein. Now, if the anabolic window theory held water, we should have seen dramatic differences between these two groups, right? The immediate protein group should have blown the delayed protein group out of the water. But guess what happened? Virtually identical results in muscle growth and performance. I'm talking statistically insignificant differences, the kind of differences that could be explained by normal variation, sleep quality, or what they had for lunch. And here's the kicker that really sealed the deal for me. They even studied postmenopausal women. Now, this is important because postmenopausal women have different hormonal profiles that theoretically might make them more sensitive to nutrient timing. And if anyone was going to benefit from precise protein timing, it would be this population. But even in this group, same story. No significant advantage to immediate post-workout protein versus waiting several hours. The overarching message from multiple studies, multiple populations, multiple research teams, total daily protein intake is what actually moves the needle, not whether you hit some magical timing window. But let me dig even deeper into why this makes perfect biological sense. Your muscles aren't like a gas tank that suddenly goes from full to empty the moment you finish your last rep. Muscle protein synthesis, that's the process of building new muscle tissue. It stays elevated for 24 to 48 hours after a good workout. 24 to 48 hours, people, not 30 minutes, not even 2 hours. We're talking about a window that's measured in days, not minutes. So think about it this way. If your body was so fragile that missing a 30-minute window could sabotage weeks of hard work, how did humans survive and thrive for thousands of years before protein powder was even invented? Our ancestors didn't have post workout shakes. They might not have eaten for hours after physical activity, and yet they built lean, strong, functional bodies. Okay, so if timing isn't the magic bullet, what actually is? This is where I want you to get out a pen and paper or pull up the Notes app on your phone, because I'm about to give you the numbers that will actually transform your physique and your performance. Here's what I want you to write down, screenshot, or yes, tattoo on your forehead if necessary. Aim for approximately 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day. That's your North Star. That's what's going to move the needle. That's what the research consistently shows as the optimal range for muscle building and maintenance. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but Abby, that seems like a lot of protein. And you know what? It might be more than you're currently eating, but it's not as impossible as you might think. A palm-sized portion of chicken breast has about 25 to 30 grams of protein. 2 eggs have about 12 grams. A cup of Greek yogurt can have 15 to 20 grams. A scoop of quality protein powder typically has 20 to 25 grams. It adds up faster than you think. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to stress about getting it all in immediately after your workout. You've got all day. You can spread it out. You can work it into meals you actually enjoy. You can make it work with your lifestyle instead of letting it control your lifestyle. Now, does this mean timing is completely irrelevant? Well, not exactly. And I don't want you to swing the pendulum too far in the other direction. There's still value in spreading your protein throughout the day. About 20 to 40 grams every 3 to 4 hours can help keep your muscle protein synthesis humming along nicely. It's also going to help you with recovery, keep your blood sugar stable, and keeping you feeling full and satisfied throughout the day. But here's a practical reality that not really very many people talk about. Trying to eat a ton of protein all at once because you didn't stay on top of it during the day, it's going to feel like a real chore, and it can be really hard on your digestion, and it's not always practical or enjoyable. So yeah, having a protein-rich meal before and after your workout makes total sense from a practical standpoint because it helps you distribute your protein intake throughout the day. Just don't stress yourself into an early grave about the exact timing of it. So let's talk about why this myth has also been so persistent and why so many of us, myself included, fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. There's some real psychology at play here that goes beyond just marketing. First, there's what psychologists call the illusion of control. When we're working toward a goal, especially a physical goal that takes time to see results, we desperately want to feel like we're doing everything right. The idea that there's a specific action we can take immediately after our workout to maximize our results, it gives us this sense of control, right? And accomplishment. It makes us feel like we're being proactive, like we're really committed to our goals. Think about it. Finishing a workout and then immediately having your protein shake feels productive. It feels like you're optimizing your results. It's a concrete action you can take that makes you feel like you're going above and beyond. And in a world where fitness results take weeks, months, years to really show up, having something you can check off your list immediately just feels really good. Then there's the fear factor. The fitness industry has gotten really good at selling us fear. Fear that we're not doing enough, fear that we're missing out on potential gains, fear that everyone else knows some secret we don't. The anabolic window myth feeds into that perfectly. It creates urgency. It makes you feel like you don't act fast. If you don't act fast, you're leaving gains on the table. And let's also be honest, we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we wonder, am I doing everything I can? Am I maximizing my potential? When someone tells you there's one simple thing you can do to optimize your results, of course, you're going to do it. Who wants to be the person who missed out on gains because they were too lazy to drink a freaking protein shake? But here's what gets me fired up. It's this myth that has created an entire culture of anxiety around fitness. Instead of celebrating the amazing thing your body just accomplished in that workout, you're immediately worried about the next step. Instead of listening to your body and honoring how you feel, you're following rigid rules that may not even apply to you. I've had clients tell me they've skipped social events because they're worried about not getting their post-workout nutrition timed right. I've had people also tell me they felt guilty about enjoying a meal with friends after a workout because it wasn't the optimal protein choice. You guys, that's not health. That's not wellness. That's anxiety disguised as optimization. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how you can actually apply this information to your life starting today, because knowledge without application is just trivia. And I didn't just spend the last 16 minutes talking to you and breaking down the science for you to just file it away and keep doing the same stressed out routine. So the first major shift is stop the post-workout panic. I mean it. The next time you finish your workout, I want you to take a moment to actually appreciate what you just accomplished. Feel those endorphins. Notice how strong you feel. Take a few deep breaths. Your gains are not evaporating by the second. Your muscle protein synthesis is going to be elevated for the next day or two. You have time. Second, focus on consistency over perfection. I'd rather see you consistently hitting your daily protein target 80% of the time than occasionally nailing perfect timing 100% of the time. Your body responds to patterns, not perfection. If you're someone who meals preps and likes to have everything planned out, great. Use that to hit your daily protein goals. If you're more of a go with the flow person, that's fine too. Just be mindful though throughout the day about including protein sources in your meals and snacks. Third, develop a routine that works for your life, not some theoretical ideal. If you're someone who works out at 6 a.m. and doesn't feel hungry until 9 a.m., don't force yourself to choke down a protein shake at 6:30. If you're someone who loves having a pre-workout snack and feels better training with a little food in your system, like I definitely do, then do that. If you're someone who prefers to train completely fasted and then have a big breakfast afterward and that works for you, then do it. The key is finding what feels sustainable and enjoyable for you. Because here's the thing, the best nutrition plan is the one you can actually stick to long term, not the one that looks perfect on paper, but makes you freaking miserable in real life. Fourth, if you are someone who trains fasted, competes athletically, or just feels better having protein around your workouts, then keep doing it. I'm not here to tell you to stop doing something that makes you feel good and fits your lifestyle, because there is still value in pre and post workout nutrition, especially for convenience, energy levels, and how it makes you feel. The point isn't that timing never matters. The point is that it's not going to make or break your results. So let me give you some practical examples of how this might look in real life. Scenario number one, you work out at 6 a.m. before work. Instead of forcing down that protein shake at 6:30 a.m. when you're not hungry, you could have a protein-rich breakfast at 8 a.m. when you get to work. Another protein source at lunch, an afternoon snack with some protein, and dinner with a good protein source. Boom. You've just distributed your protein throughout the day without any morning stress. Scenario number two, you're someone who works out during your lunch break. You could have a protein-rich breakfast, a light pre-workout snack if you feel like you need it, and then a satisfying lunch after your workout. No rush, no panic, just normal meal timing that happens to include your workout. And scenario number 3, you're an evening exerciser. You could have protein throughout your day as normal, maybe have a light snack before your workout if you're hungry, and then have dinner whenever you feel like it afterward, whether that's immediately or maybe a couple hours later. See how much simpler this is? You're working with your natural hunger cues, your schedule, your preferences, instead of against them. Here's what I really want you to understand. This conversation about protein timing is part of a much bigger conversation about how we approach fitness and health in general. We live in a culture that's obsessed with optimization, with finding the perfect protocol, with doing everything exactly right. But sometimes in our quest for perfection, we lose sight of what actually matters. What actually matters? Consistency, enjoyment, sustainability, building habits that make you feel strong and confident and healthy for the long haul. Not following rigid rules that create stress and anxiety. I've been in this industry for years, and I can tell you that the people who get the best long-term results aren't the ones who follow the most complicated protocols. They're the ones who find an approach that works for their life and stick with it. They're the ones who focus on the big rocks, which are getting enough protein overall, training consistently, getting adequate sleep, managing stress, instead of obsessing over the tiny details. And here's something else I want you to consider. Your relationship with food and fitness matters just as much as the technical details. If following strict protein timing rules makes you feel anxious, stressed, or guilty when you can't follow them perfectly, that's doing way more harm than any potential benefit from optimal timing could ever provide. Stress and anxiety actually work against your fitness goals. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can interfere with muscle building and recovery. Stress disrupts sleep, which is when most of your muscle building and repair actually happens. Stress can lead to inconsistent eating patterns. Hi, little Debbie oatmeal pies. Let's eat away our feelings, which undermines your nutrition goals. You're laughing. I know you are because you've been there. So when we create stress in the name of optimization, we're actually moving backward, not forward. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Abby, what about the people who swear by post-workout nutrition? What about the trainers who insist it matters? What about the bodybuilders who time everything perfectly? Great questions, and I want to address them head on because I know these concerns are real. First, the placebo effect is incredibly powerful, especially in fitness. If someone believes that having their protein shake immediately after the workout is helping them get better results, that belief can actually translate into better adherence to their overall program, more motivation to train hard, and better consistency with their nutrition. And in that case, the timing isn't what's helping. It's the increased consistency and effort that comes from feeling like they're doing everything right. Second, there are some populations and situations where timing might matter more. If you're a competitive athlete with multiple training sessions per day, if you're in a very aggressive muscle building phase and eating massive amounts of food, if you have digestive issues that make it hard to eat large meals, in these cases, spreading your nutrition throughout the day, including around your workouts, might be beneficial for practical reasons. But here's the key distinction. Even in these cases, it's not about a magical 30-minute window. It's about practical strategies for getting adequate nutrition to support your goals. Third, a lot of success stories you hear about perfect timing are classic correlation versus causation situations. Yes, that bodybuilder times their nutrition perfectly and gets amazing results, but they're also training consistently, sleeping adequately, managing their stress, eating enough protein overall, and probably have good genetics for muscle building. The timing is just one small piece of a much larger puzzle. And finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the supplement industry. Now, some companies will sell you post workout products that have vested interest in maintaining the myth that timing is crucial. They've invested millions of dollars in marketing campaigns that create this urgency around post workout nutrition. They're not going to be excited about research that shows their products aren't as crucial as they claim. Now, I'm not saying all supplements are bad. My gosh, I sell supplements, but there's definitely some that can be helpful as part of an overall nutrition strategy. But I am saying that you should be skeptical of any claims that create urgency or fear around the timing of them. All right, we're coming up on the end of our time together today, but before I let you go, I want to give you some concrete action steps because like I said earlier, knowledge without application is just trivia. So here's some challenges for you. So challenge number 1, for the next week, I want you to experiment with not rushing to your protein immediately after your workout. And instead, I want you to take 5 minutes after your workout to actually be proud of yourself and appreciate what you just accomplished. Feel your body, notice your strength. Be present in that moment of accomplishment. Then fuel up when it feels natural and convenient, not when anxiety tells you to. Challenge number 2, calculate your daily protein target based on the numbers I gave you earlier. So 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Then for 1 week, focus only on hitting that daily target. Don't worry about the timing at all. Just focus on getting enough protein throughout your day. Notice how you feel. Notice that your progress doesn't suddenly halt, and notice how much less stressful this approach is. Challenge number 3, pay attention to your hunger and energy cues around your workouts. Some of you might discover that you actually feel better having a small snack before training. Others might realize you prefer training completely fasted. There's no right or wrong here, just what works for your body and your lifestyle. And challenge number 4, give yourself permission to be freaking human instead of a perfectly timed nutrition robot. If you're out to dinner with friends after a workout and you want to enjoy the experience instead of stressing about optimal protein timing, do that. If you're traveling and your usual routine gets disrupted, roll with it. Your body is incredibly adaptive and resilient. And here's the most important challenge. Notice how much mental energy and stress you've been spending on protein timing and redirect that energy towards something that actually moves the needle. Maybe that's meal planning to ensure you're going to get your protein in overall. Maybe that's focusing on sleep quality. Maybe it's working on your form in the gym. And maybe it's practicing stress management techniques. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Fitness should enhance your life, not complicate it. Nutrition should fuel your goals, not create anxiety. Your post-workout routine should be something you look forward to, not something you stress about. The truth is beautifully simple. Focus on getting quality protein throughout your day, train consistently, get adequate sleep, and trust your body to do what it does best. Adapt and grow stronger. Your body isn't a ticking time bomb that's going to waste your workout if you don't feed it within 30 minutes. It's an incredibly sophisticated, adaptive machine that responds to your overall patterns and consistency. I hope today's episode has lifted a weight off your shoulders, literally and figuratively. I hope it's giving you permission to simplify your approach and focus on what actually matters. And I hope it's reminded you that you have more flexibility and freedom in your fitness journey than the fitness industry might have led you to believe. Remember, the best fitness plan is the one you can stick to long term. The best nutrition strategy is the one that makes you feel strong and satisfied without creating stress and anxiety. And the best post-workout routine, it's the one that makes you feel accomplished and proud of what you've just achieved. That's a wrap on today's episode of Straight Talk with Abby. If this episode resonated with you, if it changed your perspective, or if it just made you feel a little less stressed about your post-workout routine, I'd love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Screenshot your biggest takeaway and tag me on social media. I love seeing how these conversations impact your approach to fitness. And as always, keep pushing forward. Keep learning, keep questioning the status quo, and keep being amazingly and perfectly human. Your fitness journey is exactly that, a journey, not a perfectly executed protocol. Until next time, this is Abby signing off. Stay strong, stay consistent, and remember, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Thanks for listening to Straight Talk with Abby. If this episode hit you where you needed it, here's what I want you to do. First, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Transformation is contagious, and you never know who's waiting for exactly this message. Second, if you're ready to stop starting over and start becoming the unstoppable version of yourself, I've got something for you. My audiobook, Your Breakthrough Era, Unstoppable Starts Here, is now available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon. It's the deeper dive into everything we talk about here. And if you're ready to go all in on your fitness transformation, check out my program, Unstoppable 2.0, my 12-week program that combines fitness, mindset, and identity work to help you become who you're meant to be. You can find all the details at yourfitnesscheck.com. Remember, your breakthrough era doesn't start when you feel ready. It starts when you decide you're ready. I'll see you next time for more Straight Talk. Until then, keep breaking through.